we have an action-packed show in store for you today. You have obviously observed that we have Mike with us today. So why don't you say hi, Mike?
Hello, world.
So let's just get right into this. And I think the first story that I put in the doc for today was Putin's secret mansion. Now, this is quite interesting because Putin, well, some say he might be the richest man in the world. Elon Musk certainly thinks so. We've got an article. Elon Musk thinks that Putin is richer than him, and there's a very good reason for that. The story. It comes from a testimony by Bill Browder, who was a financier, a U.S. financier working in Russia. And he basically testified to and I'm just giving you some background on this story, so you'll understand later when we talk about this palace that photos have been revealed of. You'll understand how, Putin came to have this thing. But yeah, this financier basically accused Putin of taking 50% of the wealth of all the oligarchs in Russia. So the story goes that Putin made an example of Khodorkovsky, who was the biggest oligarch, and he put him in a cage in the courtroom, and basically he got sentenced for some crime or whatever. And the other oligarchs were so scared they wanted to stop that happening to them, and thus Putin asked for 50% of their wealth to him personally, not to give it to Russia. So that was kind of the background on the
Sounds like he's going back to what his roots are, straight to the Kremlin. Give me what you got, and I'm running for the border.
I think it might be. Well, yeah, that's kind of basically the background on the idea, the sort of conspiracy theory that Putin is the richest man in the world. Obviously unproven, because if he really did do this, he would have, put the wealth through various, companies and family members or whatever. But that's the theory behind it. And so we actually reported on another mansion in the Black Sea that Putin had from before. So that was another one that we've reported on before. It has like $31,000 sofas. It's got a bar, a theater, etc. Supposedly cost $1 billion. But now this one is a new. Go ahead, Mike.
Is this the one that is the 1.4 billion? So I know about this one. This one's pretty crazy. I mean, it might as well look like the state house for any major state, the capital. It's massive, and it's in the equivalent of what would be Florida in the United States for the Russians. And look at the thing. You could hit it with a cannon, and it wouldn't even make a dent.
So that's the Black Sea mansion or palace, and that reportedly cost about $1 billion to build. But this is now a new one that a investigation has just revealed photos of. If you go back to the Daily Mail link, we can actually check out some photos. So Putin supposedly lives here with his unofficial, I guess, wife or girlfriend, who's kind of his secret lover, this gymnast. I think her name is.
How old is she? Kabeva?
She's 39 now.
Oh, that's good. Putin's got two daughters. I think one's 36 and the other one's 37. I wonder if they all get along and hang out.
That's true. So yeah, his daughters would have been from his previous wife, but he supposedly now has children with this new Kabeva. You can go down, actually. There's a photo of her.
They definitely have the space for it. That's for sure. I mean, I'm surprised he doesn't have like 6 or 7 wives.
Yeah, that's her there. That's a few years ago when Putin was a lot younger. So probably about, 15, 20 years ago.
I read this one was around when she was 18, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, she looks pretty young there, so she could be about 18. She's 39 now. So anyway, the story goes that, he divorced his wife in 2013. And I guess at that time he was already kind of with this Kabeva. And he built her actually a wooden house, a wooden mansion, very close to where this mansion is. And then more recently, he's now built this crazy mansion. You can see it there on that aerial photographs. And this is apparently a mansion where his secret children and her live. And it's just down the road from her, I think less than a kilometer away from her wooden mansion.
So is this in the same area as his other $1 billion mansion, or is this more near Moscow?
It's 250 miles northwest of Moscow. So I guess that's not on the on the Black Sea. Actually, I can show you on Google Maps
So
where exactly it is if I can share my screen.
So how much money does Putin really have? I mean, so if he runs Russia, he's not, we all know everything's rigged there. Does this guy actually own the businesses like Gazprom or Lukoil? Well, Lukoil we know operates here, but it's like how much money does he really have? State enterprises in Russia are like over $1 trillion. But if he runs everything, how much is this guy really
Well,
worth?
yeah, the previous estimates was he was worth around $250 million. A billion, excuse me. Yeah, $250 billion. Yeah, which is pretty radical. So yeah, this mansion apparently it has a train station, so he can come in his armored train, and he then comes to his house, and apparently he has several children with this Kabiva woman who the investigation didn't reveal their names because they're underage. So they didn't reveal the number of children or their names or any information about them. But apparently there are several, and he built them a playground in the woods near the mansion. And then there's a boat dock from. Actually, I can show you.
Does he name his train Snowpiercer? No, I'm just kidding.
That would be funny. Let me show you on Google Maps. I can show you exactly where we are. All right, so that is the house there, right in the middle of the screen, supposedly. And then if you go down to the right, you can actually see the playground that he supposedly built for these children that he had with this gymnast lover. It's blue and yellow, which is kind of funny, which is actually the Ukrainian colors. But I guess I guess it's just a coincidence. And you can see a tennis court, and there's this kind of green path. And then if we zoom out a little bit, but kind of go down south kind of direction, zoom out a little bit more, and then go down towards the coast, you can actually see a little bit southeast. Keep going. A bit further, just a little bit further, you can actually see a house just under that white building.
Oh,
there's
yeah.
actually a house that's supposedly the wooden house, and then there's a little boat dock. So yeah, you can see the house that's on the right hand side of the screen. That's sort of a light brown color, the roof. So that's supposedly the house of this gymnast Kabiva.
Looks like it's still being built.
Yeah, I don't know what all the other stuff around it is, or this thing above it, this sort of blue thing looks like a statue or something. But
might be train station.
I'll show you the train station in a moment because that's further up to the north. So this is less than a kilometer away, or like half a mile away. And apparently she can go on her boat and sail up to his mansion. But then if you go further north, I'll show you where the train station is as well. So you've got his mansion, just
Zoom
sort of
out
on the
a
left
little.
of the screen. And just keep going north up the coast. Keep going a little bit more. It's a little bit further. A little bit more. Now go directly north.
This is all one compound?
I think now we're starting to get to some other civilization, a little bit further north now. Or you can zoom out and then we'll zoom back in on the train station. It's up past where we see some civilization. So there we go. You see the white thing on the top left of the screen? There's sort of a white rectangle. So that's the train station, which also has a helipad. You can see the helipad on the bottom left of it. And supposedly this is where he comes on his armored train to go to this beautiful mansion and chill out with his gymnast unofficial wife/girlfriend.
So is that like Camp David for Putin?
I guess it is. Well, one of them, because he's got this insane real estate portfolio. Because remember, he's got the Black Sea Palace as well that he allegedly owns. So this would be one of his Camp Davids.
I wonder what happens if Putin doesn't run Russia. He gets old and life takes the natural course. What happens to all of his stuff? Does it go to his kids, or is that just part of the government, or what's really going on here?
Yeah, this isn't really known, because if he really did steal the money from all the oligarchs, then he actually owns this. If it really was like the American financier said in his Senate Judiciary Committee hearing, then Putin actually owns this personally, his personal wealth. We can go back to some of the photos on the Daily Mail article, because you can see just how lavish this place is. But
well, they also say he's got $100 million yacht that pulls up to his Black Sea spot too. So true. It's like, where'd that yacht come from? Is that part of the presidential yacht? I mean, Harry Truman went down to Key West and said, basically, we're going to build this house for the presidents. And I think the only president to go visit that Harry Truman house in Key West in the last 70 years was Bill Clinton once, and I think Reagan went there, but no one else has really ever gone. And if you go there, it's like this $11 million palace no one shows up to in Key West. But Harry Truman was like, nope, I got to have it. I'm going to be in Key West. This is my presidency. So there's
like
a lot of
Camp
stuff.
David, but in Florida.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, how secure can you be on an island?
These are the gold chairs. Check this out. These are the gold chairs in this palace. And Putin supposedly earns $140,000 a year. That's his presidential salary. And he supposedly lives in an 800 square foot apartment in Moscow. That's the official line from the Kremlin.
No, wow.
Yeah.
800 square foot apartment. I mean, are those solid gold or is it that plated? I'm curious.
I imagine they're plated. Yeah, those chairs.
I don't know. I mean, they probably have a gold mine sitting around somewhere. No, I bet you it's plated too, but
yeah,
either way.
I'm sure it's plated. There he is with his wonderful gymnast lover. And keep going, because there's some other really nice photos of it. I mean, it looks beautiful. He said he wanted it in the St. Petersburg architectural style, so it's really traditional, which it's kind of cool. Even though we're kind of talking about him negatively, it is a beautiful house.
Well, yeah, I mean, you got to have style with more money than you know what to do with. I mean, what can you do if you ripped off half of the people in your country and you're like, hey, I'm going to build some mansions? At least you got to do it right. I'm surprised he doesn't have Gucci on the walls.
Yeah, totally.
Oh, he's not Italian. Sorry. He probably wants to use some local brand. I'm sure it's there.
Exactly. He has to use something from the
What is the
land.
number one Russian designer? I'm curious. Ilyana Saraganenko. I can't even say it. I'm horrible at Russian. Counting the lights of Lady Gaga and Dita Von Teese among her fans. Wow. I mean, she's the queen of Paris couture currently. But who knows if she's really from Russia? I mean, there's a lot of the time people will say they're from Russia and you find out, they're from Ukraine or Belarus. And you're like, no, they're not Russian.
A lot of them still speak Russian, though. I met a Ukrainian guy and he said he was from Ukraine, but he was like, oh, yeah, everyone speaks Russian in Ukraine. Maybe he was from the Russian part of it or something, Russian speaking part of it. But
under the Soviets, they were all the same thing. Well, I mean, we can hammer on about Putin stealing money from his people forever, probably, but
we could.
We might want to move on to the next.
Yeah, let's move on to the next story.